Money laundering is a notorious criminal activity that involves disguising the proceeds of illegal activities as legitimate funds. This complex process is used by organized crime groups, corrupt politicians, and other criminal organizations to hide the source of their illegal wealth and make it appear as if it came from a legitimate source. Throughout history, money laundering has been used by some of the most notorious and powerful gangsters to conceal the profits of their illegal activities. In this video, we will explore the ins and outs of money laundering, including the 3 stages of the process and how it works. We will also delve into the stories of some of the most famous mobsters who used money laundering to hide the proceeds of their illegal activities and learn how law enforcement agencies have attempted to stop this illicit activity. Get ready to uncover the fascinating and dangerous world of money laundering.
On track, now we gon' way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up.
Typically, there are 3 stages involved in the process of money laundering, and they are placement, layering, and integration. During the placement stage, the illicit monies are distributed among several accounts within the system. This can be accomplished through the use of a variety of strategies, such as making substantial cash deposits into banks, purchasing pricey assets such as real estate, or investing in lawful enterprises. Because it leaves the most evidentiary trail, the stage of money laundering that involves the entrance of unlawful funds into the financial system is the most dangerous of the stages. At this point, the unlawful monies are layered, which means that they are moved via a series of transactions in order to make it more difficult to track where they came from. This stage is intended to make it more difficult for law enforcement agencies to follow the trail of the cash and is designed to complicate the trail as much as possible. This may involve the use of accounts in offshore jurisdictions, shell corporations, and several other financial tools. The layering stage is essential to the success of the money laundering process since it renders it extremely difficult, if not impossible, for governmental entities to determine where the initial monies came from. During the integration stage, the money that has been laundered is given back to the criminal organization under the guise of lawful cash. At this point, an attempt is made to make it appear as though the cash originated from a legal source. In order to accomplish this goal, the monies that have been laundered can be used to buy assets, pay salaries, or invest in legal firms. The integration stage of the process of money laundering is the final phase in the process, and it is used to legalize the proceeds of unlawful acts that were previously laundered. The act of laundering money is a serious offense that has a substantial influence on the economy on a global scale. It not only threatens the security of financial institutions, but also enables criminal organizations to fund additional illegal endeavors. Laundering money is another factor that contributes to economic inequality. This practice enables criminal groups to amass wealth while depriving governments of tax revenue and robbing law-abiding citizens of economic opportunity. Many well-known mobsters have been implicated in allegations that they engaged in money laundering as a means of concealing the profits from their criminal activities. It is widely held that Al Capone, the legendary criminal who operated during the time of Prohibition, engaged in the practice of money laundering in order to disguise the income he made from his illegal bootlegging operations. One of the most influential personalities in the history of organized crime in the United States, Al Capone was notorious for the brutality and ruthlessness of his methods. If you want to know more about Al Capone, you can find a video in the description. In the end, Al Capone was taken into custody and found guilty of tax evasion, which was the only offense for which the authorities were able to provide evidence against him. Another well-known gangster, Carlos Marcello, was accused of laundering money in order to conceal the gains he made through illicit gambling, drug trafficking, and extortion. Marcello, the boss of the New Orleans Mafia, was notorious for his shrewd and ruthless economic acumen. He was also the head of the organization. In addition to this, he was notorious for concealing the origin of his riches through the use of offshore accounts, shell corporations, and several other financial tools. In the end, Marcello was apprehended and found guilty of racketeering, but he was never charged with money laundering. In addition to this, it is thought that Mexican drug lord Joaquin Guzman, better known as El Chapo, engaged in money laundering in order to disguise the profits he made from his illegal drug trafficking operations. El Chapo was the leader of the Sinaloa cartel, which at the time was one of the world's most powerful and influential drug trafficking organizations. He was notorious for his intricate network of shell companies, offshore accounts, and other financial tools that let him to move money between nations and made it more difficult for law enforcement officials to track down the origin of his income. In the end, El Chapo was apprehended and sentenced to life in jail for his involvement in the drug trade as well as other offenses. I already made a full video about how El Chapo rose to power and made his fortune, so if you are interested you can find the video in the description. Law enforcement agencies were successful in seizing a sizable percentage of the suspect's fortune, which was estimated to be in the billions of dollars, despite the elaborate money laundering activities conducted by the suspect. The incident involving the Bank of Credit and Commerce International (BCCI) is widely regarded as one of the most notorious instances of money laundering. It was alleged that the global bank known as BCCI was complicit in a huge money laundering scheme that includes crooked politicians, members of organized crime, and other criminal organizations. The BCCI was finally shut down by regulatory authorities, and it was described as a global criminal empire that was involved in a broad variety of unlawful activities, including the trafficking of drugs, the sale of arms, and the bribery of government officials. In conclusion, money laundering is an extremely serious form of illegal conduct that has a considerable influence on the economy of the entire world and threatens the stability of financial systems. Typically, there are 3 stages involved in the process of money laundering, and they are placement, layering, and integration. Many notorious mobsters, such as Al Capone, Carlos Marcello, El Chapo, and many others, have been known to engage in the practice of money laundering in order to conceal the profits they have made from their illicit endeavors and give the impression that their wealth originated from a lawful source. Money laundering continues to be a significant issue that poses a risk to the integrity of financial institutions all over the world, in spite of the efforts of law enforcement authorities to combat the problem. And that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if so, leave a like and watch another video about Al Capone or El Chapo. I would be glad if you also subscribe to my channel. Bye.